This episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast is brought to you by Times Cineplex. Hey, welcome back everyone to yet another episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast. It's me, Kev, back once again on this episode where we're going to be talking about a movie called Halloween, which is hitting Bruneian theaters. But first up, it's my co-host, it's Del.
Yo!
So, what's up?
I have not been sleeping well.
But we missed out on last week's episode because we had a delay on set for missing our episodes after a big show.
Yeah.
Still haven't caught up on sleep?
last week was fine. It's this week.
No, okay. So you had a busy week.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just felt uncomfortable. Last 2 nights couldn't sleep well, so...
Would you say it's almost like Michael Myers is watching you?
Not at all.
So he says.
Whatever.
All right, up next, it's the other co-host of the Wayang Crew Podcast. It's Kai.
I'm watching you while you sleep.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. What's up, guys? It's been a while.
Yeah, you've been missing for the last couple of... No, 1 episode.
2, I think.
2, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what's been up with you?
Just chilling, not killing. That's a line from a scary movie. I don't know. Just been busy with stuff, I guess.
Okay. And finally, it's the other co-host. She's back this week. It's Nikkei.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about Halloween, as I mentioned up before. And what have you been up to this week?
Pokemon hunting.
Best for last.
That's still going on?
Yeah.
There was like a new update. Someone told me about a new update and there's like a whole slew of new Pokemon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so much going on right now.
Okay, I'm not a Pokemon fan, although I will admit that I was one of those people who 2 years ago was roaming around town and catching Pokemon. Anyway, I digress. As I mentioned, on this episode, we'll be giving you a full-on review of Halloween, which is slashing its way into local Bruneian cinemas. But first, let's get to the news. Avengers 4. There's a couple of bits of news this week. Kevin Feige was asked at an event where they were showing Black Panther for a special screening. This is because they want to get the Oscar nods in and all that for Oscar season. And the big boss at Marvel was asked 3 questions. One was, when will the Avengers 4 trailer drop? And he said, before the end of the year. Ooh. So we've got about maybe 2 months before the end of the year. Yeah. So sometime within these 2 months. The next thing he said was, Namor could make an appearance and they're still deciding if and when.
What?
I'm not sure who Namor is. Do you know?
Namor is one of the original Marvel characters. He was created as part of the Invaders with Captain America, the original Human Torch, and I'm forgetting the other character now. But Namor is essentially the precursor to Aquaman. He's the ruler of Atlantis. He's the submariner. He's mythologically Captain America's best friend and the oldest living meta-human in Marvel.
Okay, so this could be like a response to DC's Aquaman. Then.
Yeah.
It's actually a response to DC's Aquaman, isn't it?
Cinematically, yes, but...
No, as in the comics. They created this based on Aquaman.
He was before Aquaman.
Really?
By a whole year.
Oh.
Namor came out in the year 1939-1940. Aquaman was just a bit after that.
Okay. And the third bit of information we got from Kevin Feige is that Guardians 3 is on hold. Pretty much, I guess, indefinitely, which is something we already knew. I guess we were hoping for some better news from him, but we'll see. Also, Avengers news this week. Apparently, Avengers 4 will resurrect a Doctor Strange character.
Yeah, I read about this just now.
A Doctor Strange character?
Yes.
What is that?
Tilda Swinton, who plays the Ancient One, will be reprising her role.
Oh,
yes.
Right. I thought one of the Doctor Strange will be resurrected. I'm like, what?
Wait, which one?
Clearly not enough sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, by the way, speaking of Doctor Strange, wasn't he the other member of Invaders?
No, he was Defenders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you guys think about this? Like, this is the first character that we've heard of that is going to come back for Avengers 4. The next character is, apparently, Frank Grillo, who mentioned that Crossbones will return in Avengers 4, but only in a flashback.
Okay.
I'm sure. Okay, so I'm gonna say spoiler alert just in case people get hurt out there.
From which movie?
Avengers
Civil
4.
War?
Oh no, there is obviously an element of time.
Yes.
Right?
Which is something we've talked about a lot on the show.
And the only way Frank Grillo's character the only way Tilda Swinton's character and all these other casting news that have come out in the last couple of days can make sense is if the story is non-linear in a non-chronological order. I have no doubt when they opened this proverbial narrative wormhole to write this story, they shot a ton of things. How much of that will be in the final movie is left to be seen, in my opinion. Because if we're going on every bit of news that we've gotten so far, essentially we're getting Captain America 3.5.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of other Captain America characters that shot scenes. There's a lot of Iron Man stuff. So it's just so big that I don't think we're gonna see everything.
They'll definitely have to streamline like the whole thing to tell one cohesive story.
Yeah.
My take on this is that I guess he's hinting a little bit. I mean, the fact that he mentioned it's a flashback, that's another term for going back in time kind of thing. DK, any thoughts?
I don't know. They could just change everything by the time it comes out. So,
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So I'm really not bothered by what the until I see the trailer.
Yeah.
So for now, whatever.
See, you say until you see the trailer, but as Avengers Infinity War proved, what you see in the trailer will not directly translate to what we see in the movie.
Yeah, so before trailer is even insignificant.
That's true. Okay, yes, your point has come across. Everyone just sit tight and wait for more confirmed news. More news from the MCU. Frank Grillo, who is one of the veterans in the MCU, says that the next Captain America could be black or female.
I read this.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's gonna be Falcon.
I mean, I thought that was a given. Like, isn't it in the comics that it...
After Bucky, yes. I thought it would be Bucky at first, but I feel like Bucky is suited to being White Wolf, so probably is gonna be Falcon.
It's gonna be Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
So what will happen to Falcon?
He will get the American flag on his wings.
What?
Captain America. Spread it open. Stars and stripes, people.
Wait, that actually happened, right, in the comics?
Yeah, it did.
He wouldn't be called the Falcon, he'd probably
No.
called the Eagle.
Upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds about right.
Sounds about right. That's
Yeah.
that's a good one, actually. I wouldn't...
Also, while we're on that, the official animal for America is a bald eagle, and Falcon's already bald.
Oh, by choice.
By choice.
All right.
I don't know where that was
Let's
going.
move this along.
Yeah.
We got some more news on Avengers 4 and some leaked photos came out and they seem to confirm Pepper Potts' superhero identity.
Yeah.
She shared a photo on, I think, one of her social media platforms like Instagram, I think. And it's her in a suit and it looks very Iron Man-ish and everyone's saying, oh, she's Rescue.
Yeah.
What is Rescue?
Rescue
It's
is
one of the
armors that Tony built. It was for Pepper. In case of emergencies that whereby he is incapacitated, she would put on the suit. The system would recognize her authority, and essentially she's an armor.
rescue.
Yeah,
And only her.
yeah, she would come to the rescue.
So it's a bespoke suit that Tony made for her.
It's an Iron Man suit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's an Iron Man suit Tony made for her.
Really?
Yeah, nanotechnology that corresponds. Well, extremist technology that corresponds to her.
Okay, so this is like nanotech because like looking at the shot, there are woman bits for this suit.
Yeah. It's nanotech.
Hollywood.
Yeah, tailored to fit. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Tailored to fit.
You were
Yeah.
expecting there were no female bits?
No, I mean if it's a big clunky suit, like,
Yeah.
it's never mind.
So it's less Captain Phasma, essentially.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. A bit of news from DC. SHAZAM apparently is going to go through reshoots, which has got fans sparking for the Superman cameo once again.
I did not know this.
Yes. Okay. So what has happened in the last couple of months is that there was this whole fiasco with Henry Cavill.
I know that. I didn't know. I
No.
didn't know Shazam was going for reshoots.
For the listeners.
All right.
All right. Just quick recap. Over the last couple of months, there was some back and forth between Henry Cavill. He was in news because he was giving off some very cryptic images and videos on Twitter and Instagram, and whether or not he will continue to play Superman or whether he was having some, I would say, differences with the studio, because apparently his contract is coming up and he is pushing for a standalone Superman movie.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, we want you to be in Shazam. Whether or
No,
not.
it was a fee thing.
Oh, it was a free thing.
Yeah, so he went into Warner Brothers and he was like, I must stash you a question.
When did you come up with that one?
As we were talking, as Kev was talking. No. So they couldn't agree to the fee he requested for Shazam. because by contract he's supposed to do a certain number of films for a certain amount of money. But I think what the studio tried to do, again, don't quote me, but I think they were trying to leverage what would have been the Man of Steel 2 quota as part of the SHAZAM contract. And he just, I think his management team just felt like there's not enough security for him to stay on. That's why there was the whole discussion of him going, you know what, this is just not worth my time. Because he did have, and he ended up taking a lucrative offer from Netflix for Witcher, the series, I think.
Yeah, the TV series.
Yeah.
I read about that. Okay, more news from DC. Wonder Woman 1984 apparently has had its release date moved to the summer of 2020.
Boo.
Yeah, it was supposed to be released on November 1st, 2019, but it's been pushed back by about 7 months, all the way to June 5th, 2020.
I think that has to do with a bunch of stuff, but I think if it's at 2020, Warner Brothers has just got 2020 vision. No, on a more serious note.
The look on me and Dell's faces are just...
No, Dell looks like he's enjoying this.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
This is me with not enough sleep.
Yeah.
Just
I love this version of Dell. I think the original date was supposed to be 2020, in all honesty, but there was a reason it was moved up, but now it's going back to
What was the reason? Was it the Olympics?
I honestly don't know.
reshoots.
Yeah, and then there's a rumor out there that this is to let Flashpoint happen.
What?
What?
No.
In
It's
between
not
now
even
and...
happening.
I was gonna finish my sentence by saying, to let Flashpoint happen is to acknowledge that there will be a Flash movie at some point.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, there won't be a Flash movie anytime soon.
No, that definitely not.
No.
Here's another movie that has had its production moved back. It's the Spawn reboots.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking about this the other day. I'm super excited for this.
I kind of am as well, because it's going to be done by Blumhouse, and, you know, they've been building up their reputation over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
The original Spawn movie is still one of that, you know, if it's on TV, I'll watch it.
You will.
But it's like,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But yeah, this reboot, it has been pushed back. I mean, production-wise, it has been pushed back. It is going to start in June 2019.
Oh.
Yeah. It was supposed to start at the end of this year.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So it's been pushed back about half a year. Let's hope it comes sooner rather than later. All right. Mark Wahlberg, who apparently is supposed to be playing the $6 billion man, that movie now no longer has a release date.
Oh, wow.
It's just been taken off.
Oh, wow. I honestly think that is a good thing.
Really? Yeah.
I don't think anybody cares about the $6 billion
Because
man.
it's no longer a thing when you have so many superhero movies out already. And this is just
This is
a
like
guy
this
with...
is another Iron Man.
Is it right? Yeah, pretty much.
Originally, it was supposed to come out on the 5th of June 2020, but that has now since been replaced by Wonder Woman 1984. And then that has left this movie, The $6 Million Man, with no release
Is this
date.
from Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Interesting. But yeah, I thought it was one of those things like the Crow reboot, you know, it's never going to go anywhere.
I was kind of hoping to see Mark Wahlberg because I just watched Mile 22.
Oh, which is a good movie.
Which is a good movie, and you know, he fits that kind of role, like
really
that
does.
action movie kind of guy. Maybe a little bit of comedy in there, but Mile 22 was good. We'll talk about it later on in Liat Liat. Next bit of news. This one was a bit of a surprise to me. Guillermo Del Toro is set to direct a Pinocchio animated movie for Netflix.
Netflix.
What?
Yes.
Oh.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
The Disney one's already so dark.
So apparently what...
Really?
Yeah. Apparently the timeline...
Oh, the live action one.
No, the
Disney
cartoon. The cartoon.
Oh, because the live action one was like Pinocchio was a killer.
Oh, no, not that
No,
one.
that's-
That's the like
That's
slasher.
not Disney.
That's a horror.
Yeah.
No.
I had a very interesting childhood.
So apparently,
watched that
the director Guillermo del Toro, this is like a passion project for him, and he
Right.
always wanted to do a Pinocchio movie, whether it be a live action or animation. But before the release of The Shape of Water last year, he was like kind of like down because early reviews were not great.
Mm-hmm.
And that ended up winning like awards, as we know. Like he
Yeah.
got
Best
an Oscar
Picture.
Best Picture for it.
No.
Best director.
Best director,
Yeah.
and that has sort of like, you know, put him back on the positive side, and he's like, yeah, okay, let's do this. Like I want to do a Pinocchio movie.
Nice.
It's in his wheelhouse.
It really
Pinocchio has
is.
so
Yeah.
so much of these like the boys turning into animals in cages. I think it fits. Guillermo.
I guess he's one of those directors who, at this point, to a limited degree, could do anything he wants, except Hellboy 3.
So mean.
Because they're gonna reboot it.
Yeah. I don't know what is up with me tonight.
Yeah, so confrontational.
I know.
This week on the podcast, we will be talking about Halloween, and of course, if we're talking Halloween, we're talking about Michael Myers. Here's someone who I think goes toe to toe with him, although a bit more supernatural. It's Jason from Friday the 13th.
Right.
So apparently, there's a reboot in talks right now.
Again?
Yes.
Really?
They had a very lengthy sort of copyright ownership kind of legal battle.
Okay.
And so that's apparently now been settled. And the production house that will be doing this is a production house called Spring Hill Entertainment, which is owned by LeBron James.
So he's gonna be Jason.
I don't know.
Camp Crystal Lake was a basketball camp.
What do you think of this? Like pro athletes who buy over companies and maybe trying to jump into other industries. In this case, like from basketball to the movie industry.
I honestly don't really have an opinion on that or on LeBron's film choices because I've yet to see Space Jam 2.
Yes, which he's apparently set to star in.
And
yeah.
I think produced to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. But just Jason's mythology is already very messed up. Like, is part 8 canon or not? Let us know. But I know there's another reboot. Like, so this is frustrating.
What do you think, Dale?
I'm not into slasher movies. I've never really watched or follow Friday the 13th. I saw 1 or 2, but with the success of Halloween, I think it will be a greenlit very fast.
Greenlit very fast.
For Friday the 13th reboot.
LeBron James, I don't know. LeBron James.
That's the best reaction. I don't know.
LeBron, I mean, he was good in Trainwreck.
He was in
Yeah,
I've not
Yeah.
seen that.
He's
That's
the best friend of the
Bill
lead-
Hader.
Yeah, Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Wait, Trainwreck? Is this the Amy
Amy
Schumer?
Schumer,
Amy Schumer,
yeah.
yeah,
okay.
He was not bad in it. I was surprised.
Like he was funny.
Yeah.
He was also funny in the cartoon that came out recently. What was it called?
Oh,
Smallfoot.
Smallfoot.
Oh,
Small
was
Foot.
that him?
Yeah,
Okay.
a side character.
Okay.
But his acting so far has been okay. It's just producing wise and rebooting a franchise. Well, let's see.
Okay. We talked about some pushbacks that are happening in Hollywood for the 2019-2020 slate. Apparently, Terminator 6 is going to face off with Charlie's Angels in November of 2019.
I'm not a betting man,
But...
but I think Charlie's Angels will be terminated. Because this is obviously a Terminator film and he's got Linda Hamilton.
And it's
There's
got- yeah.
just that factor.
Yeah. The cult followers and the hardcore fans are going to be coming
Yeah.
out of the woodwork just
Yeah.
to support
Yeah.
her. And I don't see how this Charlie Angels movie is going to overtake that.
You'll find out whether the male cinema goers or the female cinema goers
Have more
are
money.
louder. Yeah.
Okay.
Because, there was a report from Forbes the other day that pointed out something very interesting. He said that there's the reason why nobody could account for Halloween's sudden success is because nobody took into consideration that what if Jamie Lee Curtis is the X Factor? Because he says, what if in the next Alien movie you have Sigourney Weaver again?
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I
would
mean?
watch
Like,
that.
there's a
I watch it,
chance,
yeah.
like, these old characters coming back in a newer capacity is the reason why people go, I want to watch this.
Yeah, because even for the older cinema-going audiences, they would have watched it like in their teens, like when they
Yeah.
were dating, and now it's 30 years later, and they're adults, they're in their 40s or 50s, and like, I watched the first one, I'll watch another one.
Yeah.
For sure.
I have more money now.
Yeah.
I can get better seats.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if Terminator does well next year.
Yeah, and it's also becoming a trend in Hollywood for the later movies in the franchise to sort of wipe out
The
like what
previous
the
ones.
previous ones
Yeah.
that came before. Like Terminator is one example. This next Terminator movie,
Halloween, Terminator,
Halloween, is another
Alien.
one, Alien.
X-Men.
Yeah, something that is apparently going to get a reboot by Paramount is also this movie. I hate to say it, but it's one of the movies that if it's ever on HBO, I'll just leave it on because it's something that was from my childhood. It's Clueless.
Oh.
Oh, they're rebooting it. Oh, I love Clueless.
Apparently, it's in development.
I've
but
never seen it.
I love it.
You've never seen it?
No.
You have to
I'm-
watch
I
it.
watch
I'm
it
pretty-
once a year.
Really?
Yeah, at least once
I'm
a
pretty
year.
clueless about Clueless.
Oh, there you go. Get a clue.
Watch Cluedo.
Oh, I was gonna work that in. I was like, I didn't think I'm ready for that.
But Clueless is one of those things that was in like what I would say the golden age of the teenage high school kind of movie.
The fallout from John Hughes's.
I would assume, but this was in the like mid to late 90s where you had movies like She's All That, Can't Hardly Wait, and Clueless was right smack in the middle of that.
It focused on the bimbos, like the blonde and
like as if.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'll
We can benefit from a modern reimagining of this Clueless movie, and then you'll have kids in high school and see what they are doing these days. I'd be interested to find out, like not just dabbing and. I don't know, dabbing seems outdated already.
Yeah,
but
it is. That was last year,
so
bro.
I don't know what the kids are doing.
And I would kind of like this, see a resurgence of the phrases "as if" and whatever, and that if that all comes back, that I have no problem with it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Up next, here's something that I am kind of thankful for. It's something that I've sort of wanted for a while. We're kind of all sick of it. We've expressed it on this podcast. Johnny Depp is rumored to be leaving the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Are we sick of Johnny Depp?
Well, we're not sick of Johnny Depp. I'm just sick of like a Jack Sparrow. Like the last movie was nothing.
I mean, I've not seen the last three, but
Are they rebooting it or they continuing the...
That's the next bit of news. Apparently, they're going to be rebooting it. And one of the rumors is that the next lead in this franchise will be a woman pirate.
Penelope Cruz?
Sure.
I have no idea. Is this where Hollywood is going now?
I don't know. I don't have any attachment to this Pirates franchise.
Yeah, you never have. You didn't even watch the last one that we reviewed here on this
I didn't
show.
watch that. I didn't watch the one before that. I don't think I watched the one before that.
Okay.
What are we at? What are we at? 6, 5? What are we at?
We've had 5.
Okay, so I've seen till 3. I've not seen the last 2.
The last 2.
Yeah.
In my opinion, not worth it.
That's why I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Del?
Rebooting with a female lead.
Maybe it's one of those franchises that should just not continue.
Yeah.
You know?
It's too soon, nah.
Yeah.
It's like Amazing Spider-Man again. Not necessary, but if done well, it'll make money.
I think in terms of quality, this is one of those franchises where they don't really look at that. It's more of like, who can we attach to this project that is a big enough name to draw in the audiences? When can we release it, and how much do you think we're going to make?
Pirates of the
You
Caribbean
just described Transformers.
Yeah, I mean, this
Fast
is
and
one of those
Furious.
franchises. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pirates has become that.
Pirates of
and
the Caribbean starring Charlize Theron.
that I would go and watch.
There it is.
Okay.
Target market.
Target
Disney, I
market.
hope you're listening.
So that's the news this week on the Wayang Crew Podcast. If you want to get in touch with us here on the show, you can do so via our contact links down below, which moves on to our next bit of the show, which is our review of Halloween 2018, which is officially now the second movie in the franchise. Because
everything else has been undone.
It's wiped out the Rob Zombie one, and it's wiped out H2O.
And the others.
And the others.
Including Season of the Witch.
Because this story is set 40 years after the original, and there's nothing in between. Michael Myers has been incarcerated for the longest time.
40 years, right?
40 years.
So before he was incarcerated, he went the first time he terrorized that town. And how old was he?
He was probably like 20.
20?
He was already in asylum at that point.
Right. So 40 years later, he would be like 60-ish, 70.
Yeah.
So we are still led to believe that he can do what he did in this movie, right?
In the words of one of his doctors, he's evil incarnate.
Yes.
Sure, but was there any supernatural thing to
Which is something we'll get into.
Yeah.
But before we do, let's have a very brief overview of this movie. I mean, the trailer pretty much says what's going to happen in this movie. It's 40 years since the events of the first movie. Michael Myers has been incarcerated at a mental institution for all this time. High security mental institution for all this time. Jamie Lee Curtis's character has been apparently preparing for the last 40 years for his return.
40 years of preparation.
Which is what we saw in the movie.
Yep.
Like, she's...
It didn't look that way. Sure. Okay.
She
Wow,
has...
Del really hates this movie.
Yeah.
I do.
She has had her family's life all tossed up
Yeah.
upside down. What sets this movie in motion is that they are gonna move Michael Myers to another prison.
Yeah.
That's when the escape happens, and then this movie takes place.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty much it.
Pretty much.
Okay, so let's start off with the good from Kai.
Spoiler or no spoiler?
Let's just jump right into spoilers.
I thought it was really tight. So I've watched all of the Halloween films except part 3. It's never canon. And I thought it was really tight in how you don't have to watch the last 40 years worth of movies. You watch the first one and it jumps straight into this story. It was really tight in the sense that, you know who the character is at this point. You know what happened, and you know that the world that they're in at this point in the year 2018, Michael Myers is kind of looked at as like yeah, you know what, maybe it wasn't that.
He's like an urban legend
Yeah,
kind of thing.
like, you know, like there were people making fun of Jamie Lee Curtis's character. People just didn't take him seriously, and I guess to see Michael break out of prison and just mercilessly kill all these people and just look for Jamie Lee Curtis kind of gave him an angle which I hadn't seen in any of the films, which is he was focused. He wasn't just a guy killing people. He had somebody he wasn't able to kill a long time ago.
There was an ultimate aim.
Yeah, it's like, no, you need to die because, you know, you've been on my conscience for 40 years.
And he will kill whoever he has to get there.
Yeah, so I liked it. It's very basic slasher film. It's got a lot of gore. There was we'll get into the bad later on, but there was a small plot twist which I thought was so predictable. I was like, why? You know, I liked it. I honestly really liked it.
Okay, I'm on like the side of Kai here. I didn't mind this movie. I didn't love it, but it was okay. It was for an hour and 40 minutes in the cinema to be entertained and to see something on the screen and go, whoa, that was okay. That's happening now. Kind of cool. Okay. I had no issue with this movie. I'm not a big fan of the franchise. I have not watched all of the Halloween movies, but I have watched, and this is important, the first movie.
Yeah.
The original Halloween movie from 1978. And having watched that very recently, before watching Halloween 2018 and walking into the cinema, there's that continuation like 40 years apart, and it's right there. And you can just pick up from the first movie and you see why certain things happened in the second movie because of what the events in the first movie. And that's how it plays off each other, and that's how it makes sense. So yeah, I mean, I'm okay with this movie. Now we're going to move on to the bad. And who would like to start with this? Let's go with Del.
Let me be the voice of reason.
On a podcast about fiction. Let's hear it.
Slasher movies does not work today because slasher movies belong in the 90s and early 20s, 2000 at best. So there's nothing new you can bring into a slasher movie, which clearly this one didn't, except for the fact that we are led to believe that 65, for argument's sake, 65-year-old men can still be as strong as he is. If the movie started with the doctor telling the audience that he's done some tests on this person and he is exceptionally strong and all that, okay, I can accept that a little, but then there has been nothing for 40 years and this doctor has done, I don't know what he's been doing, because he couldn't even get him to speak for 40 years. And then we see him, you know, he doesn't even try to chase his victims. He just walks. So why do people keep getting killed when they can just run away? I don't get it. So slasher movies like this doesn't work today. That's the reason. And also the script, everything other than Jamie Lee Curtis is just nonsense. Especially coming from the doctor. You see one stupid scene where the doctor and the police were in the car looking for the daughter of Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Granddaughter.
Granddaughter. And they found her. She was sitting on the steps and then surrounded by the people in that house. And then everyone looked so serious. The police came and talked to the daughter. And then everyone else was looking at the doctor. And the doctor looked at them and said, I'm a doctor.
Get back in your house. Get back in your house.
No, lock your doors, he said. What is going on? Okay the doctor killed the police. Understandable. Okay, he wanted to see what Michael Myers is thinking. Then we go into Jamie Lee Curtis's house, which was supposed to be Michael Myers proof, but it wasn't because he so easily got in. And she built so many barriers in different doors, in different rooms to lock. I don't know what was it for. I'm not sure, but it's just nonsense, everything from there. Like, she built the safe,
the basement,
the safe room,
the basement,
and rigged with explosive, but she never intended for Michael Myers to get down there. I don't know, man.
Well, from how I saw it, like from where I was sitting watching this movie, that house, yes, was her house for the last 40 years. And it's revealed right at the very end that basement that she built and rigged with explosives and all that, it wasn't that she never wanted Michael Myers to get into the house. That house was sort of to make him think that it was impenetrable so that he would go in.
Yeah, and they could burn it down.
And they could trap him in the basement and then burn it. Because that's where Judy Greer's character goes, it's not a, what was it? It's not a safe room. It's a trap. And then she closes it and then the gates close. Yeah.
That would have made sense had they purposely pushed him down. But when she hit him with the pen, and she was surprised that he fell in. So it didn't feel like it was planned for him to go down there. Plus, Judy Greer's character is an idiot. She had a room filled with guns and she didn't use them.
No, she took the worst gun that she could. She took like a hunting rifle.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could have taken a shotgun or whatever else was in that
But you
gun
see,
cabinet.
Michael Myers would have survived all of that.
That is true.
It's just crazy that he would.
Or are we crazy for thinking he can?
And Jamie Lee Curtis, she's been preparing for 40 years. She's been learning how to shoot. She go around her house with a rifle. In close quarters, you can't use a rifle. You have to use a pistol.
Here's how you know Dell's a gamer.
Yeah.
No, I don't even play shoot 'em up games. I don't. I hate those games.
Alright.
But look at how when she moved around the house, it doesn't make sense.
You're right.
Come on, write a better script.
Alright, before this goes off the rails, let's get Nikkei's thoughts on Halloween. Like, what did you think of this movie?
I was enjoying it not because I thought it was good. I was enjoying it because it was so silly.
So this is a comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best part for me is when Jamie Lee Curtis' character Michael Myers, if you know what I mean. Like, there's they try to pay homage to the original where he fell off on the ground and then he just disappeared, and she did that to him, and she was hiding,
yes,
and she was
that is
hiding in the
true.
dark, which is normally what he does, and she did
Yeah.
exactly what he does on him.
So she became the predator.
Yeah, so she
Michael Myers.
She Michael Myers.
She Michael Myers.
Yeah, so I thought that was the best
That's
part.
that's a good one. Okay.
I was hoping that because when she fall off from the roof and you saw her body there, I hope like the next shot, please let her run away. And when he looked back, it's like, oh, body is gone. Like, yes.
I would like to believe that she spent the last 40 years practicing that. Like falling off that exact balcony, like doop 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 pa. Alright, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I was like, wait, he saw me? Okay, he go back up. Okay, time to run.
Count to 10.
That's true. I did not think of that.
Alright. So I guess that's what we think of this movie. Let's do like scores. Or how do you give it out of 10? Let's start off with Del.
I did burst out laughing many times, so I will give it a 4 pistols out of 10.
So this is on the basis that it's a comedy.
Yes.
Okay. Nikkei.
I'm giving it a 7 because I enjoy the silliness of the movie.
Okay, but so what you're saying is that as a Halloween slasher movie, it didn't work. But as a silly movie,
I wasn't like scared, like, oh my god, it's coming. Oh,
Yeah.
just like, nope. The whole time I was like, oh, I hope we get them.
okay.
Interesting.
Kai.
I would give it 8 stabs out of 10.
8 stabs.
Yeah.
As the slasher movie that it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I've kind of grown up watching a lot of slasher movies. Like, if Del thinks this is bad.
So this is in your wheelhouse.
I've seen some of the others Halloween movies.
No, I mean, there are some slasher franchises out there that really makes you question.
Alright.
Really bad.
Sure.
Like,
I
how did they
still
waste?
know what you did last summer.
No, like how
Like,
did, like,
Jason's 6 to 8 were just like, what?
and there was Jason X.
Yeah, that was interesting because he was in space.
He goes in space.
Yeah, I thought that was bold.
All right, I'm gonna give this movie slightly lower than Kai. I'm gonna give it like a 7 out of 10. It was an okay time. I'm not a big fan of the franchise. I have not seen all the movies like I mentioned before, but I thought that the hour and 40 minutes that you spend in there was entertaining enough to warrant it being part of a franchise, which is Halloween, and it is now showing in local cinemas. So do check it out. Which leads us to our next bit of the show, which is.
Oi, apa liat-liat? Apa liat-liat? Hoi, 看什么看？ apa liat-liat?
Apa liat-liat?
你看什么看？
apa liat-liat? See what see? 笑了。
Yep, that's right. It's Apa Liat Liat, and we have not done this for quite a while. Let's start off with Del.
I saw First Man.
Oh,
First Man was good.
Neil Armstrong story.
Yeah, it's directed by Damien Chazelle. When you watch his movies from Whiplash to La La Land and then to this one, all 3 movies are shot so differently that I'm so impressed, and I think he's legit. This guy is a legit director. He knows what he's doing and he suits his style to the genre. For this movie, even though the second act was really slow, some parts I really think that it wasn't necessary, but at the end of it, I still think it is a great movie because the way he shot, especially when they were in the rocket and especially also when they were on the moon. But you can feel like when they're on the moon, it's such a wide, expansive feel to it, and when you're in the rocket, cockpit.
It's so
It's
claustrophobic.
so
and, and
you can
tight
you can
and
really
small.
feel it because of how he the cameraman perhaps angled the shot itself. But again, the ending of the movie is still like the previous two movies where it's just the two lead looking at each other and without saying anything. So it's a very Damien Chazelle style. Really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else besides First Man?
Finished watching Jack Ryan finally.
Oh, yeah, that's been a couple of weeks now.
More than a month.
Yeah, what do you think of the ending?
It's a week.
It's weak.
It's
yeah.
weak. Yeah.
And I did mention when we last spoke about this that it really condenses over
Right.
the last 3 episodes of the series. Like,
Especially the last one.
everything just gets tied up so quickly. And like, why? Why could you not do 2 more episodes to stretch this out? Anyway,
But as a film, I mean, as a
10-part series, yeah.
not even just episode or filming wise, it's really good. Just that I've seen it so many times with 24, and it's 24 has a better ending than this one.
The 24 had better premises and stories.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with Nikkei. Apa Liat, what have you been watching?
A Star is Born.
Oh, that Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga movie.
Lady Gaga.
Yes.
Yeah,
Lady
okay.
Gaga.
So, okay, before you give your thoughts on it, one question I want to ask you is what happened, apparently, allegedly, with the whole Lady Gaga fans giving bad reviews of Venom warranted?
Wait, what?
Yeah, because apparently that is what happened. It was sort of uncovered that there were a lot of Twitter followers of Lady Gaga and her fans that because Venom and The Star Is Born came out on the same weekend,
Right.
the fans of Lady Gaga, whether or not they did it on purpose, a lot of people say it was because the amount of retweets that it got from the initial bad review was, I don't know, like a millionfold compared to one review, which was retweeted over and over and over, which was partly why all you heard for the first couple of days about Venom was it's bad.
Right. Okay.
So apparently that's what happened.
Right.
So does it hold a candle, or is it better than Venom?
I don't know, because it's so different.
Okay.
It's so one is like a comic book, and this is like a drama. I'll watch both differently, and I'll still watch both. But based on just watching A Star Is Born, it's not as great as what a lot of reviewers rave it
Okay.
is. Especially on Bradley Cooper's directing, but it's his first time, so I'm not expecting anything great, but the first act of the movie was directed really well, and then everything from there was I don't like it. Like in the middle of the movie, it felt so draggy that I thought the movie was 3 hours long.
Okay. What is this movie actually? It's a fictional sort of
It's a-
biopic of...
It's a remake of a remake of a remake.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
so
is a
there's
fourth generation
there's
remake.
3. Yeah, so it started, the first one is like 1930 something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second one was a musical, and then
In
the
the
third one is
50s.
the 80s.
And
Barbra
the third one is the
Streisand.
most famous one, Chris Christopherson and Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
76.
Okay. And it's essentially like an established star helps
Have
Yeah.
nobody.
helps a rising star. Helps a nobody to become a
To
rising
be,
star.
yeah, so it's the same
Oh.
same retelling of a story, but the best thing about the whole movie was Bradley Cooper's performance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
His acting is so good. Like
It's
he needs to be
mesmerizing.
nominated for this
It's
role.
mesmerizing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but not Lady Gaga.
So he acted in it, he directed in it.
Yeah.
And what's the relationship like between like the on-screen presence for the two of them?
The chemistry was good actually, both of them. But the only thing I have to say about Lady Gaga performance is because so much of her screen time is her singing, and we know when she sings, she is really good at singing.
Yeah.
Like when she performed. So most of the screen time is her singing, so you just think that, oh, she's really good actress. But it's just her singing. She's not acting in it.
Right. So it's something that she already does well.
Yeah, but
okay.
if you just take away all the singing and just look at her acting, it's actually not as good as what everyone is saying. That's how I feel though.
Okay.
I know the lit monsters are gonna attack me for this, but
so it's not just for Lady Gaga fans. It's overall an okay movie.
yeah, it's an okay movie.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to Kai. Apa Liat. What have you been watching, Kai?
I've been watching a ton.
Wow.
I finished South Park season 20.
Oh, okay.
I finished Daredevil season 3.
Already?
I feel like it's a crime we didn't talk about it.
You can now, which is why Yeah.
But I want to talk about Star is Born.
Okay.
I watched First Man, I watched The Star is Born, and I watched Goosebumps. So
Goosebumps 2.
Sorry, yeah, Goosebumps 2.
Goosebumps 2.
Was
Very
a
different movie.
Yeah, it's oh man, that was a disappointment. First Man, I think Dell kind of covers it. There are some parts there I really wanted to fall asleep because I was like, I don't care, Ryan, just go to the moon. But the scenes on the moon were really well done. The lighting, the shots were really well composed. I just don't think it's Damien Chazelle's best film. That's just a personal opinion.
Agreed.
I also don't think it's Ryan Gosling's best performance.
Agreed.
I feel like Claire Foy did a better job than Ryan Gosling did in this film.
Yeah.
She played the wife.
The wife of.
And then Star is Born, I have to echo what both of them said. Like, I could not take my eyes off Bradley Cooper's performance just because he played this kind of self-destructive, wary character so well. And something that's very close to home for me. Like, I know it so well that I was just like, this is amazing. And I also really liked the songs that they had because I thought the songs would work outside of the film as well. Because it's like you could put it on a CD and you could sell it and people will still listen to just the songs. Like, it doesn't need the context of the movie to work. I thought initially that some of the scenes that were a bit jumpy, I thought that were because of certain regulations here, which meant the scenes were censored. But now I was told that it's just really choppy editing. So I think I would take it down a notch in terms of directing. I guess it could use some work. Obviously, Lady Gaga is a great singer. The chemistry was really good, but I think Nikkei is right. Like, she didn't get to act in a lot of scenes. In a lot of scenes, she was kind of just talking.
So this is like a tailor-made role for her, in a way. Yeah.
In a way, like there were scenes with Bradley Cooper where he's just a powerhouse of like he would say 2 lines, but the way he acts it out is just like, whoa, that is very effective.
But then I will. Can I just jump in for 1 second? In Lady Gaga's defense, when you see Bradley Cooper bringing his A game, Lady Gaga standing beside him doesn't take you out of the movie. That's credit to her.
Yeah. I don't think she did a bad job by any means. I think she did great. I just think it was the right thing, maybe, or maybe they thought, let's give her more singing, you know. But you just told me about this whole Venom fiasco, I had no idea.
Oh yeah,
about this Venom thing. Yeah,
it was news for a while.
Yeah, even if A Star is Born didn't exist, I would still not watch Venom again. So I don't understand what people are so upset about. Yeah, no. But yeah, I genuinely would recommend Star is Born and First Man to anybody who would sit through.
Okay.
No, that's it. Okay. Daredevil season 3, obviously.
Daredevil season 3. You want to talk about that? We'll give you.
Did you guys watch it or?
I have not, but I'm gonna get around to it.
It's a season that gives us another great villain.
Ooh.
Okay.
Because someone comes back.
No. Like, I mean, spoiler alert, if you've seen the trailer, Kingpin's there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But man, this season introduces us to a new villain, and I have to say, they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
it's a home run.
I'm gonna watch the first episode.
Yeah,
It was a bullseye.
They hit the bullseye with this one.
Yeah.
Like with the peanut from a plane.
He probably could do that.
All right, which leaves me for Liat Liat. I checked out a lot because we've been off the air for a week, so I had 2 weeks to sort of sit down and catch up on movies. I watched Sorry to Bother You.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it started off really well, and the trailers, we all saw the trailers, and it was a movie that I sort of gravitated to. I'm like, oh, I need to watch this because it's about a guy who is down in life and he ends up getting a job at a call center and he's a telemarketer, and then he learns how to use his white voice to sell stuff, and he becomes this rising star in the company.
Interesting.
And there's like a whole floor of people who just have white voices, and they're like the elite telemarketers. And that's where the movie takes a really weird turn. The second half of the movie it's so bizarre, and it's so, you don't see it coming at all from left field. Like it's blindsides you, and it ends in a way where you sit down when the credits roll and you just think to yourself, what did I just watch? It's one of those movies. I also got a chance to watch Black Klansman, which is a very, very good movie. It tells, I think it's a true story of a black detective in the 70s who was put in charge of a vice unit to infiltrate white supremacist groups.
Wow.
So he's the voice and he ends up infiltrating them on the phone, and when it comes time to meet with these white supremacists, he sends his partner.
Is it Adam Driver, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was a good movie. It got me to sit down and watch it and finish it in one go, which is my sort of measurement of how good a movie is. I finally saw Mile 22. As I mentioned earlier on, it's really good. I think it was a little bit underplayed and no one really talked about it, which is a shame because the action scenes and the storytelling in general was awesome. I checked out The Spy Who Dumped Me, that Mila Kunis movie, which was okay. It was not great.
Yeah.
It was very Johnny English.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the spy bits were very like this is not believable at all.
Yeah. But it's slightly better than Johnny English.
Slightly better. And then I also watched Teen Titans Go.
Nice.
That was fun. Teen Titans Go was kind of
I
fun.
heard.
It's about an hour and 20 minutes. It's a really short movie, but it does give a new take on the Titans. And on the TV side, I started watching DC's Titans.
Oh, how's that?
Is it as dark?
I'm on the second episode now, and I have to say, it's actually good.
No way.
Yes, it's good because it's all dark and broody, and there are mentions of other more established characters in the DCEU like Batman, but they never say Batman. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
They hint to it, and then the guy who plays Dick Grayson is good. The guy who plays the other the people who play the other characters, you know, it's an origin story of sorts. So you start off with Dick Grayson just moving.
Is he a police officer?
Yes. Just moving to a new
Right.
city outside of Gotham, and then he starts to meet them.
Fun fact, the guy who plays Dick Grayson was in the last Pirates of the Caribbean film.
Brendan Thwaites.
Yeah.
Which one was he?
I don't know. I
The
didn't see the
son.
film.
The son.
The kid of Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley.
Oh, okay. The one where he's got a bit grown up,
A bit
Bit
grown
grown
up?
up?
and he runs to the shore. Oh no, that's what I'm getting my movies all crossed up now.
No.
It's already grown up.
Okay, it's already grown up. Doesn't matter. So that's what we've been watching for the last couple of weeks here on the Wayang Crew. Let us know what you've been watching, and I guess we'll see you next week, where we will be probably giving you a review of
Bohemian
Rhapsody, which is another biopic. This time the Queen biopic. Very much looking forward to that. Rami Malek is playing Freddie Mercury. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye.